everyone, it's Diana. I am bringing you this quick art exercise every day at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and hello to everyone out there. So if you don't know me, I use the creative arts to talk about mental health. My background is actually in performance. It's not in art, it's not in visual arts. So I bring you this exercise just to also support the idea that everyone is an artist, and we all can get benefit out of art, whether we consider ourselves a professional or whether we just can draw stick figures. That same thing goes with acting and performing. You might see people on stage that are really, really skilled and really trained, but that also doesn't mean that you can't get up there too. Everyone has creative abilities. You don't have to be the next TikTok star and have a cajillion followers to dance in your kitchen. Everyone can find benefit if they allow themselves to create, just like we did when we were kids. So this is a quick art exercise that I learned at the Actors Fund here in Los Angeles, where I am currently. I learned it in a class on managing depression and anxiety. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to take a piece of paper and we're going to take some coloring utensils. I use crayons. But you can really use anything you want. If you don't want to use color, that's fine. Just use a pen or a pencil. If you want to use pastels, you can. If you want to use paints or markers or really whatever works for you. Also, this is a cat that is usually behind me. So hello to the cat. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw our current thoughts and emotions as we're sitting here together, as if it's weather. So is it sunny in your inner world? Is it sunny but actually 300 degrees? Is it sunny but a cool 70 and cozy and there's light clouds maybe? Maybe there are light clouds and it's cozy, but they're tiny tornadoes. Maybe you're inside of a tornado. There could also be tornadoes and rainbows. You don't have to draw weather either. Really, this is only an exercise to get whatever's here and here onto the page. So if you want to draw flamingos and waterfalls, you just do whatever works for you. Thank you for joining me. So we can check in with ourselves a couple different ways. If you want, you can just check in cerebrally. You can just be like, I'm feeling. And the more specific you can get, the better. So if I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling happy, well, sad is not as specific as discontent. So discontent might look a little bit different. And to help you with that specificity, you can also be more specific with your colors. Oftentimes, I don't know the specific word to label my large emotion, but I pick up a color and draw a shape, that might encapsulate it more with more dynamic specificity than if I could just apply a word to it. The reason why labeling or putting shapes and colors to our feelings and emotions is that it helps us get out of our emotional portion of our brain and more into our logical problem solving portion of our brain. So it helps us to calm down, actually. That is my brief neuroscience knowledge, and I hope it's correct. However, I find this exercise to be very calming. So you can check in cerebrally with yourself if you want. If you like to do body scans and delving into the body is something that you enjoy and that you feel comfortable doing, you can do that as well. For some people, they don't like that. So what we do for that is you just start at the top of your head and you just breathe in and breathe out. And you just scan yourself to see if there's any parts that you're holding tension, any parts that might have a little bit of energy, some anticipation, percolation, any parts that have joy, any parts that have heaviness to them. The body is really fascinating because it can tell us so much about our thoughts and emotions, and sometimes we're not aware of it. However, it will show up sometimes in the body. So you can do it that way. Or what I like to do too is I just check in with my color palette. Hello, thank you for joining me. So I check in with my color palette and I see whatever color just brings my awareness to it. And I notice that. And then I just apply it to the page and I see what comes out and I allow my intuition to guide me. I really like that part because I find that I'm able to surprise myself and I'm able to uncover some truths that I might know are there, I might not be able to admit are there. And that's another way for me to check in with myself and also to take care of myself, because I found that in my own mental health journey, listening to myself and listening to why, if I notice something and I listen to it, I'm able to take care of myself in a better way because I am I'm being heard, if even by yourself, which sounds a little bit a little bit out there, but I have found that it really helps just to acknowledge when you're hurt or upset or excited or joyful or elated. There are a lot of different words. So, and shapes and colors that you can apply to it. So I talk a lot about mental health. Let's draw instead, because that is so much more fun. And there's a cat. Great. So what are we thinking and what are we feeling in this moment? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, I guess that is what it's gonna be. Okay. Well. Okay. If you need a couple minutes, take your time. As long as you're able to devote to this, you can spend all day if you want. I'm sure there are many things happening in everyone's homes, so it might be that you can only spend a minute to do it. It might be that you just pick up one color and you just quickly sketch out whatever is going on. You can also do this with loved ones that are in your home. You can also do it with children. So you'll never know really what comes out. And when you're doing it with children, you can also you can tell as much of your picture as you want, as is safe depending on age, age levels. And with the child, you could just also see maybe they might have some truths that are coming through. So it might be an opportunity for you to recognize some things your child might be missing or might be sad or happy about. There are, I'm sure, a lot of changes for parents and adults, parents and kids right now, and adults. We are all going through our own collective yet individual experience in this pandemic. So, what did I draw? I don't know. So it was interesting to me because I didn't really know what I was going to draw, and I had picked up these colors as I was talking to you, and I found that those were the colors that I wanted to use, and only those colors. So I trusted that. But it was really interesting because when I put a color to a piece of paper, like I said was an option of how to start, I started judging myself. I started to, I wasn't trusting the intuition, and I wanted it to look a certain way, and I started to control. And so that's another aspect that I think is really interesting when you allow yourself to be led by your intuition, but then we also at times want to control to feel safe. So that is just a piece of information for me that I wanted to put in. I wanted to stop it. I wanted to stop to feel safe, but in reality, I am. So I don't need to do that. I can trust myself, and I can trust what comes out. So I started to draw more. I started to pick up other colors and just kind of do a quick motion. And I wasn't really finding any fun in it. I wasn't really enjoying myself. I was kind of lost, to be honest, in some chaos. So I ended up picking up this purple. And that's when I started to have fun and feel connected to my drawing. And I drew a big purple cloud. Now, to the outside eye, this looks very chaotic, and a purple cloud might symbolize heaviness or might symbolize a heavy emotion. For me, it actually symbolized abundance. And that was a really joyful moment of me drawing my picture. I was really enjoying it, even with the chaotic and the rough brush strokes. It was almost like abundance forming. So right now, of course, things are stopped and they're unprecedented, and it doesn't feel possibly like abundance, of course, but that doesn't mean that in the future there won't be. So I also feel like this is a hopeful picture, despite the many contradictory brush strokes of a crayon, which is not actually a brush, but you know what I mean. And then I do have to admit that there is a red. There's definitely heavier feelings that are happening. Some anger, and if I want to boil that down, frustration with restrictions, different things like that. I again was trying to control and didn't necessarily want that in the picture. However, I couldn't deny that it's there. So I just put it very small. So if you do have big, let's say there is a lot going on and you just can't handle it and you don't want to deal with it and you don't want it to be represented in your picture, you can also draw it very tiny. You can make a tiny tornado. You can make a tiny piece of red. And then what I often do in the pictures is I I will notice that there's something there, even if I don't want it to be, and I will respond. So I responded by doing some yellow. I did some yellow, almost as a force field or a protective measure to draw it in there to say, you know what, you're here. I don't want you to be here, but okay, you're here. That doesn't mean that you can get to the piece of my picture that is joyful for me and is taking care of me in some ways. Within the big chaotic cloud, I then drew a big almost sun, a circle. This for me is not necessarily I did just call it a sun, but it's not necessarily a warm sun. It doesn't actually, I don't even think it gives off energy. It's more of a stabilizing factor, to be honest. And I have been drawing stabilizing factors over the past few, I think I've been doing this for many days now, but at least the last week or 2 weeks, I've been drawing stabilizing factors to kind of hold on despite things that might be happening. So, yes, to be 100% honest, I wish that this was more contained and more quote unquote pretty or looked a certain way, but I also think that there's real power in us being okay with how things look, and that they might look a little different than you might want them to, but that doesn't mean that there isn't value within them, and there isn't moments of abundance and moments of I guess the future forming. We don't really know what the future holds. And a year from now, 2 years from now, we might look back on this time and see that there were ways that we connected with loved ones in a different way, or found our value in a different way, or, made changes that might have been necessary in our lives, and we weren't ready to do it and we didn't want to do it. But I don't know. I guess this picture speaks to me of what might be in the future, and so it is also hopeful. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that you drew something that you can find some meaning and calm in, even if there are tiny tornadoes and things like that. I do this every morning at 11, so please check in with me. Join me. It's fun to have people on. Thank you for joining. At the end of the drawing, what I do normally do is I'll write a quick narrative on the back of my picture so that I have a running story of everything I was thinking and feeling during this time. During stay-at-home orders. So I invite you to do that as well. Okay, take care of yourself. Have a good day. They're all very long days, but I'm sure have a good day. Here's a cat. And I will see you all tomorrow. Okay, bye.